Welcome to the Xbox Podcast. My name is Larry Herb, Xbox's Major Nelson, and it's great to see you. First of all, I want to thank you if you're watching us or listening to us, wherever you are. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and doing all that stuff. Did I do it right, Jeff? Did I do it right?
No,
I think you did a great job.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Don't enable him, Rebecca. He needs to tell everybody that this drops on Friday. We did all that stuff last week, and you had double the views. So I can't really take credit for that. But
no, you can
tell everybody what show it is.
This is the official Xbox Podcast. We release every Friday most Fridays on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, all your finer podcast outlets. And assuming things are well, you're going to get us. We've got interviews. We'll wrap up the Xbox News of the Week. This is a great way going into your weekend where you can kind of, check out, hey, what's going on Xbox? What did I miss this week? Because I know that you're busy with your lives and we're here to kind of help you along a little bit. The one thing we can't help, though, is Jeff with his audio inputs. I don't think your mic is actually selected as the input.
All right. Well, you're probably.
Yeah.
And the reason I know this is because off the air, Rebecca and I were troubleshooting this for her setup, right? Doesn't sound like it's right.
Yeah, you sound like me last week.
Yeah,
I will disappear and reappear. How about that?
Oh, okay. I guess we're gonna do that. I guess we're gonna do that. And until then, we'll just
bye.
Jeff's just gonna go away, and he's gonna come back. So, I guess Rebecca, we can go full screen on you or not. I don't know.
Hi, sure.
How about now?
How are you? Oh, you sound way better. Welcome back.
All right, there we go. That's it.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
A puppy had pulled the plug out. I don't have a puppy.
I was gonna say you don't have a cat, you don't have a dog, you don't have anything in your house.
A lot of squirrels in this neighborhood. So occasionally it's only a matter of time before one of them gets in here and starts chewing on the wires.
Anyway, great to see everybody. Rebecca, it's how are things out in New York City?
It's I don't know. It's starting to cool off in New York. Fall in New York is nice. Everyone keeps telling me to get out to Central Park to watch the leaves, but I have been mostly cooped up in my apartment, though, but I'll probably get out and look at leaves at some point. They're not going anywhere, right?
Go over to Grand Central, take the Metro North, go up to New Haven, walk around Yale, and then you can grab some pizza at Pepe's or Sally's, and then take the Metro North back.
This feels like a long trip.
She just said she can't even get out of her house. You get Central Park.
I'm like a mile from Central Park, yeah.
North. Yeah.
I'm just trying to get you up there. You've never been to my home state of Connecticut, have you? And I wanted to get you up there to enjoy that because New England in the fall is primo.
I see. I did actually have brunch with a gal from Connecticut last weekend, and she complained about it quite a bit. So
what did she complain about?
I don't know. She said it's boring and there's no good food except for pizza.
Yep.
She said Pepe's is no good. That was like her direct quote. I'm just stirring the pot.
I am not going to get involved with the pizza wars, the great pizza wars of Wooster Street. I will not do that. That's where all the pizza places are. They're on Wooster Street. So,
gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
All right, let's move along and talk about games, shall we, gang? Because this is going nowhere.
This is the worst travel podcast of all time.
It's the anti-travel podcast. I can't get out of my apartment. Oh boy! Rebecca? We're going to start with you because Jeff and I will share our co-op story this week. But what are you playing?
So I got the chance to try the Halo Infinite beta this weekend. Finally,
with a lot of other people, you did.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I'm a little bit nervous for my future as a Halo player, though, because I feel like I'm starting to fall behind. Just all the clips that I saw of people posting and just big team battle has never been my thing. It's always been a little bit chaotic for me. I am really sad that I missed out on the 4v4 weekend last weekend. And I also don't really care for capture the flag. I would prefer if we were all just trying to think of a way to not say just killing each other. I would prefer if we were all just
shooting at each other's heads.
So are you testing our combat skills.
Did you get to play territories at all?
No, so every time I match made, it brought me to capture the flag. So after like 4 matches, I was like, okay, I'm done because I don't like capture the flag.
Because Jeff and I played a little bit over the weekend. You were on a little bit later. I was going to join you, to be honest, but I was so deep into Far Cry, I couldn't break myself free. But Jeff and I played a little bit, and I think we did a nice mix of Slayer, capture the flag, territory. It was like all over the place, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's that mode Total Control, which I thought was really interesting because in the arena mode, there's a sort of a territories mode where as long as your team has 2 of the 3 spots, you're sort of racking up points and it counts up to 200 or something like that, and then you win. This one, it was different. You had to hold all 3 points, but just for like a second. If you could get all 3, then you scored a point, and it was first team to 3 points, but it was actually incredibly chaotic. You'd be so close.
Those flag points kept moving. Once you got 3, they're like, okay, let's reset it, and they would go to different parts on the map. So it was pretty good.
But you're right, it's bonkers. Cool. Yeah, it's absolute chaos. I'm with you where capture the flag. I'll stay back on defense, which is like, I do enjoy getting the flag carrier, just sort of depriving people of joy. Maybe that's, if we were to like have a breakthrough in my psychology, I just want this person who's like so close to feeling happy to just to crush that and have their dreams turn to ashes in their mouth. But
Mr. Buzzkill, Mr. Joy Killer, Mr. Unhappy.
Rebecca's like, see, now I get it. See, I feel like I'm connecting with you on the right level. So, but yeah, tremendous amount of fun, and just like just a tremendous amount of just mayhem, and it really sort of captured, I think, everything I love about Halo. It's very tight. I love the controls. I think they look. This is the Xbox podcast. We're not going to get up here and like issue a list of gripes. That is not what we do. But I will say, as someone who missed out on most of Halo 3 and Reach and ODST because I was working elsewhere, and 5, we had a lot of fun with Warzone. Yeah. I would say this more than anything brings me back to why I fell in love with Halo in the first place, and it just feels great and it sounds great. The sound design is just so good, and I just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, Jeff and I played a little bit. We played a lot with the folks from 343. I don't know. There was one session. I don't know if you were in that session, Jeff, but we played with the lead developer on the game, one of the lead project managers on the game, the head of community. I mean, it was like Halo royalty in this game, and we did pretty good. We lost, but we won. But it was a lot of the games were really close. And I remember when we were developing the matchmaking system for Xbox back in the day, we used to have this true skill concept. The sign of a good match is one that's like kind of like a little bit of a tennis match. In other words, it's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And we ran into a lot of that. We ran into a lot of the games which were, 49-50 or, just within close moments. Like, it was really a lot of fun. So it was really looking forward to when it releases later this year.
One of the cool things. Go on.
I was just going to say, that's one thing I've heard from like friends, and then I also experienced it too, is just that the matchmaking feels a little bit more accurate to like your skill set. So yeah.
Yeah, that's. I know that they've done some work on that. We'll get the folks from Halo on the podcast to talk a little bit about that. But Jeff, what did you want to say?
Yeah, no, I was watching when things first went live at like 9 a.m. last Friday Pacific, and Kind of Funny was streaming, and they were just like, "Wonder if we can get 12 people into a party." And I just like logged out of my meeting and just joined with them, and we ran a full 12 party until that particular window of matchmaking closed, and it was madness, but it was really, really fun. And to roll in, if you can get a group of 12, which I know we ended up doing later on with 343. Yeah, that was the way to go. That was really cool.
343, we played with members of the community. We had some folks in there which were frighteningly good. Like, it was, I mean, I don't want to speak for Jeff, but I know that I as I like to say, I'm usually on the left end of the bell curve.
Yeah, this is the button I use the most right here, the view button, because I kept hitting it through the scoreboard and make sure I wasn't in last. That was mostly my goal. I need to just not be at the bottom.
Well, you
did that. So. Sometimes I did that.
We'll get somebody on from the Halo team in 343 to talk about their release coming up later this year. So we should do that. What else are you playing, Rebecca? Oh, I know one of the games you're playing.
Rainbow Billy.
Rainbow Billy.
Wait, what's it?
Yeah, so Rainbow Billy came out this week. I actually did an interview with Chris Chansey. He's the CEO and executive producer at Mana Void, and it's a pretty great game. I think one thing that's been interesting is someone who's been playing games for, what I consider a long time. It's been really interesting to see how games have evolved as a medium, and just seeing people creating games that are intended to have like a positive impact or create like positive feelings, or aren't just about killing someone as fast as possible, even though those are really fun too. And so yeah, Rainbow Billy is really like, I would have never thought I would enjoy talking to a trash can, but the trash cans are really nice and they have these like witty things to say. So it's actually a pretty like cute, well-designed game. Yeah, with the gameplay is also like pretty nice, like variety of like puzzles and like dialogue, and then also like turn-based challenges. So it's pretty sweet. I'd recommend people check it out. But you can learn more during the interview. Yeah, right.
Not everybody in a trash can is a grouch.
It looks like a lot of fun. You have to, and Rebecca will have an interview later on. You talked about the evolution of gameplay in games, Rebecca. It's interesting you say that, because in the interview I have with Sam Lake about Alan Wake Remastered, he talks a little bit about that, about how, not just necessarily the gameplay, but obviously the technology. So we're going to talk about that. And then Jeff, you're also going to talk to someone. Who do you talk to next? Oh,
it was Clem Kwong.
Clem from
NHL. The NHL 22. Yeah. Hockey fever is here. It's melting the ice. It's just too hot. The two do not coexist, the fever and the ice. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Have you I know. Have you been to a game yet in like Madison Square Garden, Rebecca, in New York, or a show or anything? Mm-mm. You got to go check that place out. That's pretty cool.
Okay. It's on the list. Eventually when I leave my apartment.
So first step, stop it, look at the leaves at Central Park, then hop on some train, go all the way up to New Haven, Connecticut on Worcester Street, then get back in time. They're dropping the puck at 7 p.m. at MSG. So you've got a heck of a day.
Sounds like a very busy weekend. Yeah.
That is the tri-state lifestyle. I'll tell you that right now.
Wait, which one is the third state? Is it New Jersey?
It's usually New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. But if you're from Pennsylvania, you'll say Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York.
Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware is sort of that was the Delaware Valley tri-state area.
Southern version of the tri-state.
New Jersey, Jersey's there's sort of like there's North Jersey and South Jersey, and right around Princeton. If you see people in like Giants and Jets gear versus Eagles gear, that's how you know which part you're at.
I see.
You don't spend a lot of time in New Jersey.
Educated on that northeastern lifestyle eventually, Rebecca. Although Rebecca and I were commiserating, there's this weird thing in the Northwest, talking about food, that you don't really find. And Jeff, this is teriyaki. There's no teriyaki in New York, or not that she's found or I found.
Yeah, it's just a really big thing around here. I mean, like I'm sure everyone's had or heard of teriyaki chicken, but like teriyaki restaurants, and there's like oftentimes they'll have like their teriyaki plus Chinese food, or teriyaki plus Korean food, or teriyaki plus Vietnamese food, and like for lunch, like some of the best stuff that you could get. There's certain things that they all have. They'll all have like chicken teriyaki or yakisoba. Yes, but then they'll have their own sort of specialties that go on top of it. And there are dozens and dozens, usually like family-owned local places, like a one-off, not a chain. And like when in doubt, if I don't know what to have for lunch, like around the Microsoft campus, there's at least a half a dozen teriyaki places. And we all have our favorites. Oh, I miss it.
It's fine. I think the one around my parents' house it's funny you mentioned yummy teriyaki. I think it was yummy teriyaki, but it was like number 5, but there was no number 1, 2, 3, or 4. It was just like, but you're right. Like they are like independently owned. So I really don't know where the other 4 were, but yeah.
They're connected in name only. Let's be clear. Anyway, so, but yeah, we'll have to have some teriyaki if we get out to New York again. We're looking forward to. I know Jeff and I. What's funny, Jeff? I don't know if you saw that email. Jared, I know maybe you were on it, Rebecca. We were talking about. Was it 5 or 6 years ago? We were in New York for the Windows 10 launch, and Windows 11 is launching this week.
Yeah, that was a fun time because the event, as I recall, was in the headquarters where you're at in the First Division game. Like it's like the big mail depository or something.
Right off,
yeah,
off Broadway.
Yeah, and that's like your that's your center of operations in the original Division game, and we're like, we've been there, we know that one,
we know that door,
we know that door. Oh, that door, the memories. If that door could talk, Larry. I don't know.
Oh boy. Anyway, so you're playing those couple of games. We talked about, I'm playing Halo. Jeff and I, and this is the segue to what Jeff and I are playing. And you know what I should do, Jeff? I should just do the reveal when I go like this. We are playing Far Cry 6, which for those of you that have been listening to the show for some time know that Jeff and I played 4 completely co-op, 5 completely co-op, and now we're doing 6 completely co-op. This is this for some reason the Far Cry experience in co-op is just bananas fun.
It's a completely different experience because when you're playing by yourself in this game, especially, because I found like it's kind of hard to OP yourself. You're not like in previous games. It's like I kill like 10 alligators and 3, panthers or something, and I have some crazy armor or something like that. This game works a little bit differently. It's more of a leveling system, and there's plenty of times where if I go in loud, like that's it. I have no chance at all to be successful. So I've got, so exactly. So you're just going in very stealthy and taking your time through it. But when you're playing together, it's just like, forget it. Let's just, I'm gonna launch a bunch of rockets, and you're gonna take out your flamethrower. We're gonna land a chopper right in the middle of this base and just go to town. And we've been having just some just crazy sort of emergent moments, which is fun.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with that. And it's are you a Far Cry fan, Rebecca?
I'm not, but I'm still enjoying your stories.
We killed a crazy mongoose together.
It was a mongoose infested house. We had to clear it out.
What happens every time is we try to go in quietly, and because there's always these alarms. You want to disarm the alarms before, so they can't call in the cavalry. Inevitably we screw it up. Like every time we screw it up, we're doing so well, and then it's just a mess, and then we're just lucky to get out of there alive, which is fun, which is why we love doing it.
And we also, part of it is, as a lot of it's like, Rebecca, when you're playing a game and you're unlocking weapons and attachments, you want to try that stuff out. So I don't want it to sit in the holster. Let's have a little bit of fun with this thing. So we had a lot of fun with it.
Can I just tell you my favorite part of the game, which was the least expected favorite part of the game?
Oh boy.
So at one point I was playing a little bit solo, and I was wandering around, and my vehicle had gotten blown up, so I'm hoofing it, and I found a jet ski just sort of parked by the bank of this river. Yeah. So I get on the jet ski, and the radio starts playing Ricky Martin, "Livin' La Vida Loca," which if you were alive when did that come out? Late 90s, early 2000s?
Say 99.
Sure. And when you're living in South Florida, you heard that song, it was just pumped into your brain directly. It was just nonstop.
You're not going to talk about the other South Florida connection?
The other South Florida connection?
Yeah, remember when
No, I don't know.
That character singing Informer?
Oh my God, yes. So, that was really good. But he was Canadian. But anyway, so then my character just started singing along with "Livin' La Vida Loca," and it made a song that I don't want to hear, super charming. And even to the point where I got where I was going, the song was still going. And so I ditched on the side of whatever, this riverbank, and I come off, and she still just keeps singing it was still in her head, and she finished the verse. And then it was okay, back to business of blowing something up.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
It was just a really cool touch. And I've noticed in some other songs, which I was not familiar, songs in Spanish and stuff. Sometimes she'll just sing it and get super into it, which is really cool. In previous Far Cry games, a lot of times your character, you never heard from them.
Yeah.
And this time you see your character. Games, yeah. And so your character is not a silent protagonist with amnesia or anything like that, but a fully fledged character. And so, and likable, and kind of in the Assassin's Creed games, you get really into your character, even though it's a first person, they let you see your character when you go into villages or areas where you cannot fight. it goes out to a third person perspective, kind of like Destiny does that.
Yeah.
When you're battling, it's first person, but when you're in the tower or wherever it might be, you see your character and get to see how you're decked out and everything like that. So I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. But yes, we did hear somebody, a radio station playing. Informer was like this one-hit wonder, at least in America. I think he was popular in Canada. Like rapper.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said South Florida. I'm wrong direction.
South Florida, South Ontario. I mean, I see where you're going with on that, but it was like a different. I'm like, is this Informer but in Spanish?
Yeah.
And
sure it was. By the way, I just looked it up. Live in La Vida Loca, March 23rd, 1999. So.
Wow. Okay. So yep. Very much a Florida resident at that time, and Ricky Martin was everywhere.
Thank you.
Everywhere.
Anyway, Far Cry 6, check it out. Jeff and I are enjoying it. Rebecca, if you want to do a little co-op, let me know. Although the one little area that they didn't have in this game that Jeff and I did in all the previous games is like he would play some single player, I'd play some single player, and then you could come together in the previous games, then like drop weapons for the other. Here's the high-powered sniper rifle.
Nice.
Pick it up, and then it's in your inventory from that point forward. No, they sewed up that loophole. So.
But we've been able to do it with vehicles at least, where it's like, oh, I got this cool chopper. Now you take it and bring it back to your base. So at least there's that. I got to get that tank from you, Larry.
Well, that's right. I forgot about the tank that I got. So
you got the tank. Let me borrow your tank.
Just casually holding onto the tank.
Yeah.
A lot of games out this week. We're going to talk about some coming to Game Pass later on. But right now, we're going to take a little bit of a break and start the interviews where Jeff is going to talk about NHL. You're going to learn all about NHL 22, and then I am going to talk to Sam Lake about the remastered version of Alan Wake. If you haven't checked that out, it looks stunning. We'll play a little bit of that, and then Rebecca's going to wrap it up talking about Rainbow Billy.
We are fully into the fall, and all the big sports are rolling out. Obviously, we're a couple weeks into football. The Premiership, 6 or 7 weeks into that, but there's one sport that is better adapted to the cold than just about anything else, and that is hockey. We are very close to the start of the NHL hockey season, and it's a particularly exciting one. Yes, I'm speaking here from someone who lives in Seattle. We're very excited about the Kraken, but I think the excitement's going to really be spreading throughout the country. There's a new TV deal. It's going to be easier than ever to be watching hockey across ESPN and their family of channels. So what better way to get ready for hockey for the new season than to play NHL 22, which is out next week. And we are speaking this week to Clem Kwong, the lead producer for NHL 22. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeff. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
So tell me, yeah, this is a fun time, and I feel like there's some excitement, and I know being in Seattle, we're very much in a sort of a bubble here where like the level of excitement is crazy. I live just right down the street from where they were doing the draft party, and there was choppers flying all over the place. It was actually really cool to see, and I say that as a Flyers fan. But I feel like there has been some real growth of the presence of hockey. Obviously, you're in Canada, couldn't be any bigger, but in the U.S. as well. And do you feel that across the border and sort of this some new zeitgeist here for hockey?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we as a hockey fan, obviously we we're big fans here. Needless to say, across the border. But we look at markets within U.S. We look at Europe, specifically the Nordic countries, and we've seen just a lot of passion and a lot of excitement from our fans there. And even outside of the traditional what we call hockey hotbeds, right? The original six, Chicago, Boston, those areas. Obviously Tampa having won the championship twice now. Hockey is getting very big there in Florida. Not a traditional hockey market, so definitely as a hockey fan, it's great to see the sport grow.
Yeah, it is interesting. I lived in Florida for a long time. My parents were effectively walking distance from where the Panthers play out there in the Sawgrass area, and hockey fandom's doing very well. And I will say, as someone who's been to some Lightning games as a Flyers fan, seeing them win twice, oftentimes with a lot of talent going back and forth, has been very tough very tough to swallow. But one of the things I'm pretty excited about actually is with the Olympics coming up and the return of NHL talent to that, because we get the Olympics just coming up in a few months. How's that impacting the team and what you're thinking about, with NHL 22 and sort of people play games for a long time?
Yeah, I mean again, personal level as a fan, that's very exciting. Obviously, when you get an opportunity to watch best on best hockey, nothing gets better than that. Especially when the last, I guess the most lasting memory as a Vancouverite was 2010 when Crosby scored the golden goal. I think we all remember the moment of where we are, and just for the next generation of fans to be able to see and appreciate that. I think it's really exciting. For our team, what it really means is, how do we elevate, those superstars that are playing on the international stage? And that's something obviously we try to do year over year is, make these superstars feel bigger than life, and let's celebrate them. Maybe in ways that, maybe you're in a market where you don't get all the games. So you don't know these players. I think, both our game and the Olympics have a way of, serving up those players and elevating their superstardom. So I think it's really exciting for the game.
All right, let's get into the game deeply. As NHL 22, I've been playing since NHL 94, probably. But a big shift here in the game this year. Some years bigger jumps than others, but with the adoption of the Frostbite engine. So we've seen FIFA adopt the Frostbite engine some years ago at this point, and successfully at that. So I'm curious how the Frostbite engine affects NHL, how it improves things, and what that's been like.
Yeah, definitely. So it's actually been a couple of years, in the making for the NHL franchise. It's great to be on Frostbite, where, honestly, we have unparalleled, visual upgrades across the game. And that's even before talking about the transition to the new gen consoles and Xbox Series X. The Frostbite engine, in terms of what it brings us, what the players see on the ice, everything from dynamic lighting, shadows, to when you get in and close and zoom in to all the micro details in the environment, and then in a day making everything that much more lifelike. So as a developer who's seen the game come together in the last 2 years, really proud of what we've been able to achieve. And, for us to, I think one of the most memorable things, speaking of the Kraken, is, being able to fly through the Climate Pledge Arena for the first time before anybody has had the chance to see it. Obviously it's not a function that all our players have, but as a developer, that was one of the treats. Zooming around, going to the press box. That's some of the more exciting visual upgrades that we've put in the box this year.
Knowing how hard it's going to be to get tickets for the game, I will 100% see the inside of the Climate Pledge Arena in the game before I'm able to actually go into the building. So looking forward to seeing how that all comes together.
Yeah.
You did mention Xbox Series X and S, and now that you've had like a full year nearly since the next gen Xbox consoles came out, how has that extra time helped, and what are you able to do to really take advantage of the power and the speed that they deliver?
Yeah, good question. So you had mentioned Frostbite. The first time that we're on that engine, the extra horsepower through the console hardware that allows us to take it a notch up in terms of the visual effects. The quality of dynamic lighting and effects that I mentioned earlier, but also even the user experience, faster load times, on top of the better visuals, smoother gameplay. That's at the core of our experience. Obviously, hockey being a very fast sport. The combination of stunning visuals and smooth gameplay, I think, were the biggest benefits that we saw in terms of the jump to the new gen hardware.
Yeah, I've always felt like hockey games specifically show off the hardware so well because you have the ice, you have reflections in ways that sports that take place on grass, that it's not as easily noticeable. But hockey games, I feel like they look great first, which is really cool. All the reflections and lights coming from all different directions. So some new systems here in NHL 22. Can you tell me about X Factor and how that changes the game?
Yeah, X Factor is obviously something that we've thought about doing for a while. And Matt, and I know you guys had Mike, our friend Mike here, just last month. But X Factor was built on top of this idea where like I was saying earlier, elevating the superstars in the game of hockey and making them feel larger than life. Their personality nice, but more so their ability. So this year we've introduced and hockeyfied it in a way that makes sense for our game and our sport. Bringing that in and adding what we're calling zone abilities, which are game changing, almost game breaking abilities that highlight the skill and abilities that these players have. And then superstar ability is kind of the next layer down in terms of, hey, all these superstars have it, but not quite elite.
So one of my best friends on the team here. Please go on. Go.
Yeah, I was say the other thing that Superstar X Factor gives us is obviously the benefit of changing the meta of our gameplay year over year. The strategies and how you approach the game is also different, but also it's available in all modes, whichever mode you play, whether online, offline, Ultimate Team, or multiplayer in World of Chell. Superstar X Factor is definitely front and center.
Very cool. So I was talking to my one of my best friends on the team is from Vancouver, big Canucks fan. He's very happy we're going to be having a rivalry here pretty soon. And I was asking him what he's most excited about and what he's looking forward to for NHL 22. And he mentioned some changes that he believes are coming to the stick physics. Is that something you can talk to?
Yeah, stick physics, something that is a bit more, I would say, geared towards the authenticity of the game. We try to make upgrades to our core systems all the time, and listening to our fans. With the introduction of Superstar X Factor, we thought it was a perfect time to bring together the not only these abilities that the Superstar X Factor brings to life, but also the physicality of the game. And again, keeping things authentic. The example of having the drive to the net and power forward ability, and seeing the stick being knocked around against the player's legs, and your ability to drive in with your arm down to protect the puck, and seeing the stick interact. That was a level of authenticity and realism that we haven't yet had before. And again, going to the new gen consoles, that extra horsepower allowed us to do that with stick and physics all the time. And actually, the thing I forgot to mention was stick and physics also interacts with everything in the environment. So it's not just in the moment to moment gameplay when you use these abilities, it's on all the time.
All right. I'm sure that will lead to some different emerging gameplay and, the puck going in more realistic ways, which would be, that's the pursuit of perfection that I know you all are after year after year. Just one last thing I wanted to bring up as, I'm living in a city now where there's going to be a lot of new hockey fans. And I'm sure that happened in Vegas a couple of years ago and is continuing to happen. And also with the Olympics, like you said, with the NHL players coming back, there's going to be a lot of new people turned on to hockey for the first time. And I'm sure picking up your game for the first time or the first time in a long time. How are you onboarding? What's a great place to start with new players, because there's so many deep things, but when you're coming back to just hey, I haven't played in a while. I played on the Genesis. How do I play on this? So what's the best place to start for new players?
Yeah, I would say, I'm going to give you two answers. If you're playing offline with a friend, as we know how social connection is very important, especially during this time in the pandemic here. If we're talking about just hanging out, playing with your friend on Friday night, play now and jumping in with your favorite teams. So, Seattle and Philly, and in this case, that's a good place to experience, the authenticity of everything that we've added in the game this year, from, Superstar, X Factor to, all the next gen visual and presentation. So you get the full package. But if you were talking about online, I would say jump into World of Chell, play a pickup game of, pond hockey, outdoors through ones or through three, where you'll experience the fun, fast hockey, in a team-based environment.
Clem, thanks so much for joining us here. The hockey season's the dropping the puck here pretty soon, and but to play NHL very soon as well. Release date, there's actually 2 of these. So you're going to be able to play on Tuesday. That's October 12th if you have the deluxe edition, and then the global launch for the game next Friday, week from when you're first hearing this, October 15th. Thanks so much for joining us, and who you got this season?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Who's going to be lifting the cup? I'm just putting you on the spot.
You know what? Tampa for the three-peat. Can't bet against Cooch and Vasi there. I'm not the biggest Tampa fan, but I'm going to go with that.
It has been over a decade since one of my favorite games, Alan Wake, came to Xbox 360. Joining me right now is the legendary Sam Lake to talk about the remaster of Alan Wake. Sam, it's great to see you.
Larry, this is awesome. It's been a long time, but kind of like feels like a full circle for us to be here and talk about Alan Wake again.
I have to tell you something. I mean, you and I were just talking before we started recording. You and I have talked to each other over your many, many projects from Remedy over the years, and it's always great to talk to you. But I remember this was the first time you and I were introduced to each other, and we was talking about Alan Wake when it was released in 2010. It's the remaster. Indeed, yes. The remaster's been out now, or is out now. It's available on more platforms than almost ever before.
Ever before, yes.
Let's talk about what it was like for you to bring Alan Wake to a much wider audience.
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity, and kind of like I'm proud of all the games that we have made, but somehow Alan Wake always has had this special place in my heart. And to be able to come back to it now and kind of polish it up and offer it to new audiences, like obviously for the our longtime fans who have been asking for a remaster for quite a time, again and again, persistently and patiently, but also for a new generation of gamers out there. It's a wonderful opportunity, and really happy that we could make it happen.
And I think it's important to point out that this is a remaster of the 2010 game, which, by the way, award-winning. Everybody loved this game. It was called the top game of the year on many lists in 2010. But this is going to be a real fresh look at it. And you guys provided a video for me here that I kind of want to show here of the remaster. And this is really stunning. I mean, here we see, Welcome to Bright Falls. This all looks so familiar, but really it's dramatic when you look at some of these visuals. What was it like for the team to look at this. That looks amazing. I mean, it's almost like a new place, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like visiting a place that is a special place for you, but at the same time, we kind of like it's more real than ever before in many ways, and being able to kind of come back to it has been wonderful. This has kind of like clicked into place on many levels, like our previous game, Control, obviously established this idea that has been kind of like slowly building for years and years and years, this idea that we could be building games that actually share connected universe. And with Control, we were able to, make it official that Alan Wake exists in the same world. Then the final DLC for Control was very crossover to Alan Wake's world, and that in itself was really interesting, like coming back to write more Alan Wake, and kind of like that felt very easy and natural, slipping into that world and his voice, but also interestingly seeing how, us at Remedy as creators and as a writer, you have grown and evolved, and suddenly, even if you are dealing with the same themes, suddenly, you have a different perspective, and you are exploring these same ideas from a slightly different perspective. But coming out of that, then to have this opportunity for maybe new fans who have not played our previous games and not played Alan Wake, but have played Control and gotten to know Alan Wake through that, and now giving Alan Wake Remastered to everybody to experience again with kind of a fresh look.
As someone who's the writer, and you're so creative, and you're the creative driving force behind this amazing game, was it challenging or difficult for you to go back and go back and say, oh, we're going to redo this and remaster it? Or were you like, yeah, let's, and you rolled up your sleeves and jumped in? Or did you have any trepidation?
I mean, there was a discussion at the very beginning on how should we approach this. And obviously, like, if we look at classic games coming out as remasters or remakes these days, that there is a wide spectrum of different ways to approach it. And we felt that kind of like taking the visuals, bringing them to modern world, and kind of like 4K and creating Alan Wake's model again now to match our actor Ilkka Villi in much finer detail, which obviously kind of like after Alan Wake, we made Quantum Break with you guys.
Right.
And there we went with kind of digital doubles as an idea that actors match the models. That was not the case with Alan Wake yet. That we were not there yet. But these days we are. And being able to come back and kind of remake the model and everything that goes with it, cinematics and mocap and all, that felt like a perfect approach for it. And in a way that made it easy for me, because from creative perspective, the idea of totally ripping it open and reimagining it, essentially that would have been a multi-year full-blown game project then. But this way, we were able to do this while still being like get this up and running while still being busy with Control, and so that as an approach, well, like the way to go, and very happy with the result.
Now you said you talked about the actor looking very looks. Alan Wake now looks like the actor. And so you're saying is that back in 2010, well, before that, when you were developing the game, 2007, and what have you, is that the technology just wasn't there to make the actor look like Alan Wake, right? We weren't there yet. And that must be freeing for you, as now you have all this technology.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously like this being, I mean, technology is going forward at such a fast pace, and it gives these new opportunities with each game. Each game is a discovery of something new, and it's been this kind of like evolution on this path that I mean, this as an idea wasn't really yet there when we were working on Alan Wake. We were starting to get there bit by bit, and then with Quantum Break, a huge leap, especially with the TV show there. Right. It just made so much sense to push this as far as we could, so that that the models match the live action actors, and these days it's a given, and so being able to upgrade Alan Wake into this as well.
And I also want to point out, if you're lucky enough to have an Xbox One X, you can enjoy Alan Wake in a quality mode at 30 frames per second, or you can go up, you can get up to 60 frames per second. I don't even know what that's going to be like. I mean, that's just mind blowing.
Yeah, it's wonderful to kind of like bring it to kind of modern standards with that.
The one thing I noticed, I was reading about this, and I'm going to play a little bit of the trailer here, is that you, for the remaster, we have of course, I go to play the trailer and it's a black screen. That's my fault here. But during the remaster, you've done some commentary. So let's talk about that, because now people can enjoy your commentary over the game. Tell us about that and what that was like doing the commentary, like a director's cut.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity to kind of like sit down and reflect back. I mean, we kept the original commentary there, but we also noticed that like it's probably interesting to certain segments of the audience to go back all the way to the process of creating the original game, and it goes to kind of quite a bit of into details.
Right.
But then there was this idea that how about I just sit down and start thinking, reflecting back, over 10 years and what, how do I see the process now with this distance in between it, and kind of like maybe also have this opportunity to open it up in a fresh way, to talk about the themes and as I now remember the ideas, how they came about, and what was the intent there on the story side. So it to me also it was an interesting journey, sitting down and just talking about this.
It was therapeutical. It was right. It felt like you were in therapy.
Yes, that too. I mean, like all of these game projects are huge endeavors, complicated things, and winding roads of discovery. Certainly, like if you go back and start digging into all kinds of making of material of Alan Wake, it was a long and winding road to get to the end, but all the more reason to feel really proud of the achievement. That makes it kind of like to have it finished and kind of like getting it done. And obviously we share a lot of that with Microsoft and Xbox and all. Like we were on this journey together, which was wonderful.
Now, one of the areas sometimes when we get the re-release games or the remastered is some of the things may not be the same as we remember. And we're talking about the soundtrack because musical rights are so difficult. But my understanding is that the great soundtrack with Alan Wake, it's intact. It's there. It's all ready to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, there were some kind of tripping along the way that the original license agreements, as much as I understand, were only for 7 years, and then we all realized that at some point, but we managed to negotiate all the rights back, and so the whole complete soundtrack is there. Obviously, we always had the wonderful soundtrack from Petri Alanko, kind of the award-winning orchestral part of it, and then we had kind of almost our house band, Poets of the Fall, who took this role of fictional band, Old Gods of Asgard,
right?
And that's all there. But on top of that, with with the help of you guys at Microsoft, we managed to license a pretty stellar selection of licensed music that kind of like pretty much a dream list from myself for episode endings, like David Bowie and Nick Cave and Poe and these things that to me perfectly fit and added depth into the storytelling, and it's all there, and it's pretty unique on standards of games out there.
Yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, it was originally on Xbox 360, but now it's now available on a variety of platforms remastered. You've got it on Windows, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. I mean, I know folks get creative
for the first time ever. Yes, yeah. It's.
And of course, Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. But this is,
yes.
I want to see if we can talk a little bit about. I mean, this is a pure single player story driven experience, right?
Well, as pure as it gets, and that was very much our intent, and me being kind of like the story guy and writer. It's partly, of course, that's why it's so close to my heart in many ways. I feel that we managed to bring very unique experience to gaming audiences out there with this idea that yes, it's a horror experience, it's a thriller, a lot of mystery in there, a lot of kind of like mysterious depth to dig in, but on the side then it's not one note horror fest. There is this kind of like strong feeling of place in Pacific Northwest small town, close to your neck of woods, of course, and this kind of like colorful, larger than life personalities, quirky locals, giving these different sides to this experience. When night falls, horror comes out, but during daytime we are preparing for annual Beer Fest, and we have the crazy locals going about.
Yeah, it's interesting because every time everybody I take that I know that comes out to visit me in the Northwest here in the Seattle area, we'll take them out to the woods, and they're like, "This is like Alan Wake." So if you've never been to the Northwest of the United States, just play Alan Wake, play the remastered, and it will be. Granted, I haven't discovered any of the dark side that we see in some of the game,
yeah.
But it's certainly you capture a lot of the beauty. One of the things we're talking about the remastered. We talked about the music and what it was like, doing the commentary for you. But we talked about the look of it, and it's interesting because you've got a couple things there that kind of show the difference between, like, instant in the diner, you've got the old school kind of coffee, your coffee thermos, right?
Yeah, I can show you the truth of why we made the remake, and I've been very open about being a coffee lover myself,
yes.
and yes, in Alan Wake, as a collectible, there are 100 coffee thermoses to be found, and it was getting to be pretty low pollu and low resolution, these coffee thermoses.
That's from the original
game. Yes, that's it is. Yes, but now like feast your eye on this, like it's so realistic, and the coffee tastes much better. Like after we made the remaster, now like every cup of coffee I've drank since, much more realistic. Yes, yeah. I've like obviously manuscript pages like here all around. I have the clicker here for you.
Some folks, if you don't know what that is, you will once you play the game. I'm so excited. The game's available now. Alan Wake Remastered feature. It's the full game and both DLCs. It's now available on Windows, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. Now available. If you have an Xbox Series X, you're going to enjoy it in 60 frames per second, and you're going to just totally enjoy it. Sam, any final words before I let you go?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was saying that like this was easy for me as a creator. Like we just went in and recreated the content, the objects, and all to modern standards. Like went in on the tech side and kind of made it run much more smoothly. And from kind of a writer perspective and creative director perspective, an easy ride. And we had really talented artists in-house and with our outsourcing partner D3T working on it, but could not quite leave it to that. So had I guess that all of you who have played Remedy games, you know that there tend to be Easter eggs there. Yeah. So maybe there are a couple of new ones squeezed in and hidden in there for kind of returning Alan Wake fans to discover. And I hope you enjoy them.
Well, Sam, I know we will. I really appreciate your time. It's always good to see you. I love chatting with you. It's been great knowing you and watching your success over the past decade and beyond. So thank you for coming on the show. And can we get you on again? Maybe
sometime. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
I'm sure that we will many times. This was a pleasure.
Earlier this week, Rainbow Billy released on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. I've been fortunate enough to try it out a little bit today, so I'm really excited to be joined by Chris Chansey from Mana Void Studios. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, do you want to just tell us a little bit about Rainbow Billy?
Absolutely. So Rainbow Billy is an adventure RPG platformer where basically you play this young character named Billy who's going on a coming-of-age tale. You're in a really nice and colorful world, and then suddenly the Great Leviathan takes it all away, and it's up to you to recolor not just the different islands that you'll be exploring, but all of the different characters that have lost their way as you encounter them throughout your adventure.
Very cool. Obviously, it has a very distinct art style, which I really enjoy. It reminds me of at least a couple different Cartoon Network TV shows that I've seen. Why did you decide to go that direction with the art and the design of the game?
Well, I mean, initially we kickstarted the game back in 2018, and it was a 2D game back then, and we were really inspired by games like Cuphead and Ben the Enigma Machine, who would use old 1930s Disney cartoons to really good effect, and we wanted to make an RPG. And so we started exploring in that style. And then as the game was developing, the whole rhetoric of like coming from black and white into color, we felt that we also needed to modernize a little bit of the art style. And we decided to kind of go more into the 90s cartoons, which I think is what you're referring to. Our art director is really insane at drawing this style as well. And we had so many different creatures and different bosses and areas that we wanted to create that, having that cartoon, not just art style, but animation style as well, just allowed us to kind of go crazy and just work in an imaginary world and doing whatever we wanted. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Very cool. Yeah, I see a little bit of the semblance to Cuphead, but the gameplay is pretty cool where you actually have a few different methods of, I don't want to say like fighting the different characters in the game, just between like puzzles and like turn-based challenges. It's pretty neat. Can you tell us a little bit more about the gameplay?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that, we're proud of with this game is that it's non-violent. So we kind of created a turn-based RPG combat system in parentheses, if we want, where, basically the whole idea is, we call them confrontation. The whole idea is to have a dialogue with the character that you're confronting. And basically this character has lost its colors. You're trying to understand which colors, like what their personality is. Like you're just trying to understand them as a character. And then with the friends that you've made along the way, which are kind of like these tokens that you can put on the board, you can recolor them with specific colors. And then once they're recolored, they join your team. So it's kind of like a creature collection game at the same time as as an RPG in that sense. We wanted the game to be really wholesome and positive in its messaging, and so we really wanted to go the non-violent route. And it all stemmed from a GamesIndustry.biz article that we saw in 2019 that said only 17% of games that were shown at E3 that year were non-violent. And, we thought, well, that sucks. It would be like, there's so many cool things that you can do with video games as a medium, and we just wanted to kind of explore that route and be different in that sense. And we leaned into it, not just in the narrative sense, but also mechanically. The game, it's all about empathy and understanding and just, having a conversation.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I think with with games that don't have, that are non-violent, it can be easy to maybe portray it as like a kid's game or like a soft game, but it's actually really I feel like it's really cleverly designed. Like I've really enjoyed going around and talking to all the different characters. They have, little quips that they make. It's pretty cool. I guess my next question is just around who you think the game is kind of designed for. I mean, it seems like there are a lot of different, features. I mean, I guess who's your target audience for the game?
Well, it's an E for everyone, family-friendly game. So I think, everyone can kind of I think it's a fun game, so I think everyone can enjoy it. We really tried with the writing to go like that, down that really thin Disney line where, it's accessible to children, but there's a lot of references to things that are going to make parents chuckle as well. So I think in that sense, anyone can really enjoy it. Kids obviously is one of our main targets because of all of the messaging around it. There's a lot of talk about, bullying and stuff like that and how to address it. And, we're trying to have kind of that positive feel. And there's a lot of characters that you encounter that are going through some stuff that I think anyone has gone through or any child is currently going through. And so just having an open conversation about it, and having that representativity might just make things a little bit easier, or at least stimulate a cool discussion with the kid and parents that might be playing with their children. So that was definitely one thing that we wanted to do. But in the end, this is an indie game that mixes and matches genres in a new way. We think there's a lot there that has never really been done before. A lot of stories we're telling and characters that we're presenting that have never really been shown in a video game. And so I think in that sense, anyone that's just a fan of indie games in general can really, I think, try this experience and get something really cool out of it.
Yeah, and so the game just released this week. How has the reception been so far? I'm sure you've been watching a lot of streams and people playing.
Yeah, it's everyone's so positive about the game. It's kind of awesome. I'm pinching myself as a developer. You're always so afraid of what the reception is going to be. But we have a 80 Metacritic on PC currently. Streamers have been super enthusiastic about the game. I think, the positive vibes that the game brings out is I think it's a good moment in time for positive vibes as well. So I think people are kind of rallying around the messaging of the game as well. So, I mean, so far our reception has been insane. We couldn't have hoped for a better, honestly, reception so far. We're super enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, I've been playing on Xbox and I like the controls. It feels good, but I actually have a trip coming up this weekend, so I'm thinking I might download it for Switch instead. I feel like it would be even better on Switch potentially. So, nicely done. I guess, is there anything else you'd like to add, or where can people go to learn more about the game?
So we're out on all platforms. The game has been optimized to work on everything. We're going to be releasing next gen later in the next few months. Right now, you can go and just type Rainbow Billy on any search engine, and you should be the first thing that you see. So it's pretty easy to find it. On Xbox, obviously, it's fully optimized, and we're super happy of working with Microsoft on this project. I think it's out there. Just, Google it. You'll be okay.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. If folks try out Rainbow Billy, let us know in the comments. We'd love to know your take on it. So thanks again.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you to our guest this week. It was a great week of interviews. Rebecca, Rainbow Billy, you did a great job. Jeff, you always do a great job with NHL, and I'm always fun to catch up with Sam Lake. Alan Wake Remastered. First time PlayStation people can play Alan Wake. That's pretty big.
all the PlayStation people listening to the show, they found out today. I'm sure there's some.
All right. Now, usually about this time in the show, we talk about news. So we're gonna big news for Windows fans. If you have Windows, Jeff has some news about Windows, right? I mean,
right. I'm sure you should know by now, but Windows 11 became available this week. Generally available, as we say. Some of us, and myself included, had downloaded the Insider version. I've been running Windows 11 on my gaming PC for a couple months now at this point. I will say from a transition from an OS, it is the smoothest I've done. It just like, it wasn't like, oh, it's going to take an hour to install and download. It like went really very quickly. I was like, wait, is that it? Are we done? We were done. Compatibility has been great. I played all of Deathloop on Windows 11 over the course of the past few weeks. So has a really cool look to it. A lot of redesigns on just the look and feel. And, it's here, and you can get it when you're ready for it. There's a lot of really interesting features for gamers that are that this will empower, and those are going to start to show up. Some of these are things that you become accustomed to if you have an Xbox Series X or S. Obviously, there's that speed we call direct storage. Will be empowered by Windows 11, and games will begin taking advantage of it. And I'm sure we will let you know when that becomes a case. But it's crazy how quickly things load up on your Series X. Can't wait to have that on my gaming PC as well.
Another thing is try to show something here, Jeff. I don't know if I can show it because I was going to show if you have a PC that's capable of it, you'll actually get a pop-up. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but yeah, I guess I'm not be able to. But yeah, you just go into where you can do Windows Update. There'll be a little banner in their center that says this PC can run Windows 11. It'll kind of give you some links so how you know how to download it. So it's really straightforward, very easy, and it's a free update for most people.
Something that you'll see like now, if you have an HDR capable monitor, Windows 11 has auto HDR. Again, something that we saw Xbox institute over the course of the last year or so. And it basically means like over 1,000 games that run via DirectX 11 or 12 will now automatically have empowered high dynamic range. Some of these games are games that were shipped and done before HDR even exists. Well, now you get to enjoy that wider range of brightness and colors. So a lot of cool stuff coming. There's a rebuilt tool by which you are able to download through the Xbox app Game Pass games. So give that a look. Of course, we're entering into like an incredibly rich time of Game Pass games coming to both PC and Xbox. And on Windows 11, you're going to be able to enjoy Back 4 Blood next week. And in a couple weeks out, we're going to be playing Age of Empires, Forza, Halo. So many great things coming to Game Pass, and it's going to be easier to find and download those things through the Windows 11 updated Xbox app.
So are you using Windows 11, Rebecca?
Not yet, but after Jeff's spiel about how easy it was to make the change, I probably should.
Who needs Panos? We have Jeff.
I can't go off the cuff quite to the level that Panos can. There's a reason you see him on stage. Also, he knows stuff and makes things, and I don't. Right. So really, I shouldn't be in the same room as him at any given point.
Anyway, what else do we have for news? Rebecca, what do you got over there?
Yeah, so October is Disability Awareness Month. Xbox, as always, has a lot of fun stuff that we're doing to support. We've talked a few times about Microsoft Rewards. So these are points that you earn from just doing things on Microsoft and Xbox platforms, playing games, using Bing. And you can use those rewards points to donate to different groups that are making a positive impact, like Special Effect, Able Gamers, and Warfighter Engaged for this month. And Microsoft will match those donations throughout this whole Disability Awareness Month.
Thank you.
We also have some good programming on our Xbox Live Twitch channel. I think next week for World Sight Day on October 14th, we're actually going to be hosting Sightless Combat, and he's going to be playing The Veil, Shadow of the Crown, which is an audio-only game geared toward blind and low visibility players. So that'll be a pretty cool, interesting, unique stream, I think. Yeah. I'd recommend checking out the Xbox Wire post if you're interested in learning more. We have an Xbox accessibility showcase video, which just has a lot of different like community stories, information on like the features and updates we've been making to try to make games more accessible and enjoyable for all. And it's a pretty cool overview.
Thank you for that, Rebecca. Yeah, there's some cool stuff happening. In fact, you were talking about it a little bit. You touched on it during your Rainbow Billy interview, how there's some accessibility options in games. In fact, Jeff and I noticed when we played, and maybe some people have noticed this already, when you start Far Cry, there's voiceover that says, "Hey, this is to get you started." So I'm really excited to see, some of the efforts that a lot of the developers have made to make games more accessible. So thank you for that, Rebecca. All right,
yeah,
Jeff.
Absolutely.
We are going to ping pong over to you.
All right. Well, I'm scrolling through right now the Forza Horizon 5 achievements list, which was revealed this week. This is like, there's like this cliche that they say on like the first day of the season in, baseball or something, like, everyone's in first place. Anything is possible. We can all do this. And I'm looking at this list and I'm like, we can all 1K this game. We can do it. Then, maybe we come crashing down to earth, in some cases, literally in this game, trying to get 3 stars on, every stunt or something like that. But looking at the list, it feels, I'm like, I can unlock the first player house for 10 gamer score, complete any Horizon race event. I'll do that in the first hour. Then you start to say, okay, there's things like Event Lab and, exploring other things. And then there's things where it's, discover and drive every road in Mexico. That's always the one that gets me, is to get every road. I do try to get them all, and I usually fall short around 70%. But maybe this is the year, because
maybe this time.
Beautiful. I'm hoping so.
I am hopeful, Jeff, that you will be able to do this.
I think that if I 1K this game, I'm going to buy myself a new pair of shoes.
Really? What kind of shoes should Jeff get, Rebecca?
Oh,
the ones to your right on the wall there?
No, don't look at that. No, but for Xbox's 20th anniversary, we actually are releasing a special collaboration pair of sneakers with Adidas. I think it's the first. They're the first console-inspired sneaker, and they're actually going to be available for fan purchase. So folks just need to follow Xbox on Twitter to learn more. But they're pretty slick. I don't know if they would match with all the things I have, but I would wear them.
What I have to say is, when we launched Xbox in 2001, I joined the team a little bit thereafter, and I'm just showing you some pictures of what the shoes look like. There was actually members of this team that had sneakers very similar to this. I don't know if they were Adidas or what brand they were, but the design was similar in terms of the colors and whatnot. So these actually remind me a lot, and I think Ime still have his pair. But these were beautiful sneakers that you could only get, and you could work on the team, and then they were gone. So the fact we're going to be selling these publicly, that's a big deal. So I'm really excited about, and Jeff, I love my Adidas sneakers. So
you're an Ultra Boost man, if I recall.
I've got my Lego Ultra Boost over there. I've got the James Bond one. So I've got a bunch of different ones that I do. So I'm excited to see our collaboration with Adidas. So there you go. This
is going to be a tough drop to cop, I think. So definitely keep your eyes out. And I think we saw it we saw these in a deck before, but now seeing them on people's feet, is that my ankle? It's not, but they look good on the feet, and I know that I'll probably not be able to get these, but I really want them now. They're based on the Forum Tech base. Adidas Forums are very comfortable, so I don't know if they're technically a skate shoe, but they're good. So I want them. No, but I got a 1K Forza first, so that's
then you get those or not. Jeff said, as you said, follow at Xbox on Twitter. Of course, Jeff and I'll be posting about it as well. So looking forward to seeing those. All right, Rebecca, news to you. What do you got, my friend?
No, that was the last of my news.
That was her. Larry, pay attention. Oh, and then go full screen to Rebecca to not
her anyway.
News.
Now,
are you all right? Are you okay, Larry?
Well, I got to tell you something. I'm struggling over here. Do you know why?
Why? Oh, it's the gloves. It's the gloves. Tell us, Larry.
We sound more enthusiastic, Jeff.
We had a pretty big announcement this week in that a brand new, check it out. In fact, some folks, I should go full screen here. But we have,
if we can do it,
we have a new controller, and maybe some folks noticed at the beginning of the show, it's right back here.
So show it to it.
I see what you did.
Do you need me to like do the Johnny Gilbert narration over this?
Look at that. So this
That's right, Larry. You've got the 20th anniversary special edition wireless controller, which also has a partner we'll be talking about soon. It's launching November 15th and available for pre-order right now. We were inspired by our favorite memories together from the last 20 years and created not one, but two unique accessories to commemorate this milestone. You see the beautiful Xbox green grips, which is going to make sure this does not slip out of your hand while you are playing a high-intensity game of Halo Infinite.
This is what the box
and now,
hold on, I got to take a look at the box. Now it's interesting. Nice. I'm reading the copy on the back, and I we love our marketing team and our marketing partners. But I was reading the copy on the back here. Translucent design, because it's translucent. See-through casing celebrates 20 years of Xbox. Okay.
I liked this description. Sleek and sentimental. Kind of like me.
Exactly. Kind of sleek. Okay, right. Anyway.
No, you are. You did a good job with the narration.
You have the other thing.
I do have the other thing. And even, let's go. Here we go. Let's bring it all up here. Look at this. Let me go full screen.
Oh,
that's pretty sick.
I have not unboxed this one yet. This is the Xbox headset, and this is, it's immersive sound, lightweight and flexible, comfortable fit. It's the
20th anniversary special edition Xbox stereo headset, Larry.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Let me open.
It's got a finely crafted name for a finely crafted piece of kit.
And let me open this.
Wow.
Let me open this up here because it is this box. I haven't even opened this box yet. You know what it's like to open boxes?
You got to open the box first before the gloves come on. There we go. You just brute forced it.
Here we go. I take this out. We'll take a look at them. There we go. Let's go full screen. Let's go full screen so you guys can see everything.
Okay. The headset similarly features a translucent black body with silver internals, so you can see what brings the headset to life. Green accents on the boom mic, inside and outside of the ear cups, and the left disc is marked with our 20th anniversary logo in our iconic green. The right dial has the Xbox logo imprinted as seen on the Xbox wireless and stereo headsets. How much would you bid, Larry?
Nice work.
I don't know,
oh my gosh.
Anyway, these were announced earlier this week, and they're going to be available. Jeff, do you have the pricing and the availability there?
Yes. So the 20th anniversary special edition Xbox stereo headset launches November 15th and is available for pre-order today at $69.99 in select Xbox markets. The controller is also launching on November 15th.
Ooh, what's that, Jeffrey?
Ooh.
Yes. I like the case. I like the stand. That's really nice.
The stand is available. All of this is available at news.xbox.com. We've got all of this there, and it's available if you want to check out the details on it. And then I've got a little bit more here, Jeff. Hold on. There's
more.
A few more shots of the headset. Look, what is this?
Whoa!
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah, let's go back to the. We've got some gear that's also available that you can see mentioned in that post. So check that.
Yes, so just head over to gear.xbox.com for that. I definitely need the T-shirt for sure.
I like the hat.
Yeah, no, it is a nice hat.
Yeah,
more dad hats are always good. If I wasn't clear, by the way, both the headset and the controller are $69.99 each, and available at the Microsoft Store and other fine retailers.
And this stand right here, this is sold separately. Do you have the details?
Oh, it's a charging stand.
Yeah, it's a charging
Very
stand.
Cool.
So that's sold.
Oh, very nice.
But all the details are at news.xbox.com. I can take my gloves off for another.
The charging stand is made by Razer, by the way. So if you're interested in the charging stand, head over to Razer.com to sign up to be notified when the Razer Universal Quick Charging Stand is available to purchase.
Let's go over to that right here. Flipping through. There we go. Now you can kind of take a look at that. My slideshow's fighting against me, Jeff. It wants to just keep going. What's wrong? There you go. We had some
We're
good
just going to keep it going. There it is.
We had some good stuff this week. This controller is really quite nice. I mean, we've got. It's funny.
It looks really good
with these controllers. I've got this controller. Then I also have the this is now my kind of semi-permanent controller, is the Halo one. So it's look at these.
It's real nice.
This.
Ooh. Yeah, Larry, you're just showing off because we don't have any of those things.
Yeah.
So, I've given you all the enthusiasm I can give you without having it in my hands. I got to get that controller.
All right. What else do we have there, Jeff? You got anything? I mean, we had shoes, we have controllers, we have headsets, we have controller recharging stands, we have shirts.
All the things surrounding the games. Why don't we talk about the game?
Let's
do that. One of the great opportunities to play this week, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members with EA Play if you have Ultimate, you have EA Play, can start playing the Battlefield 2042 open beta. I see it right here. I'm just on the store trying to steer without actually looking at the screen. Oh, there's Alan Wake. And you come right on in here. And yes, I will install. And or you can, it will be open by the time you hear the show, open to everybody, I think, regardless of Xbox Game Pass, and this will go on until October 10th. So very excited to play. We love Battlefield. Really enjoy like the more defined roles, being able to spend a lot of time in vehicles. So very cool. Nice little perk of that early access for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members.
Yep.
Some more games announced this week for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Of course, we know Back 4 Blood is coming out next week. Very excited for that. There is a special edition early access today, but us Game Pass members, it will be included there on October 12th, which is very soon. Very soon. So
by the way, here's a quick pro tip.
Yeah.
If you don't know, go down, add the Game Pass section onto your dashboard in your console. And you just go in here, and certainly you'll see everything that's new. But you can actually scroll right down here, and we've got a section which will pretty much exactly tell you what you got, what's most popular, recently added. And here's
I got to get Phoenix Point. I forgot that was coming out.
And here's one of my favorite features that we're testing right now is this little guy right here, Play. So you can actually, we're testing this with our insiders. Game Pass Ultimate members can stream games right to your console. So before you install, you can click this button and start playing. So we talked about that frequently on previous shows, but I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, add the Game Pass section, and then you can just go right. Every time you boot up your console, you can just go down to it and see what's new.
The other way to do that, Larry, actually, if you want to go full screen back to your system, so just back out, go back to your dash. And this is I'll tell you how I get to it. Is I hit the Nexus button, and then just hit right trigger and go right over there to the right, and that's how I get to that. And it takes you there.
Once again, Jeff is doing me better. Wow. So there you go. That's just look at that.
I live to find the fewest amount of clicks to get anywhere. Take the fewest amount of steps.
And you can kind of put your add other games in here to play later. So you can kind of it's kind of this virtual stack of shame, as it were, where you can kind of add some things in there. So there's some cool features there. So check that out. But thank you for that, Jeff.
So good. So new games announced this week. So the Rift Breaker, which will be available on October 14th, day one, available on Xbox Game Pass for console, PC, and cloud. And that means, once you're in there, you'll be able to stream it like that. Good Life is another one coming October 15th, available day one. We talked about Game Pass early access to Battlefield, and then a couple of other games that are available now. The Procession to Cavalry.
I am excited about this game.
Tell me about it. It seems like it's built out of Renaissance paintings.
Yeah,
it seems
exactly.
like a really interesting one.
It's got a bunch of it's got a bunch of classical music in there. It has, and you're right, Jeff. It's Renaissance paintings, and it just I don't know. There's something about this game I'm looking it up right now that's speaking to me, and I got to check it out. So it's in Game Pass. So again, why not? Right?
Why not? And that's available now. When you're listening to this, also Visage or Visage, it's French for face. And it's a first-person psychological horror game. It's October. You want to play your horror games. And here's one that's coming into Game Pass for you to enjoy on console, PC, and the cloud. Last thing I just want to bring up real quickly, because this one kind of surprised me. When we went to when we recorded our last week's show, it was before TGS went up, and there's some really cool stuff. There's actually a game that went in the Game Pass, an RPG that seemed really cool that I'll be trying to find time to play because my virtual stack of shame is virtually huge. But there was a Stranger of Paradise, which is Final Fantasy Origin, has a trial edition, which they're basically doing tests for it. The full game will come out next year, but you can try it out now. But for a very limited time, only until October 11th. So I want to make sure. So an action-based Final Fantasy game, Team Ninja from Koei Tecmo, they are the ones who built the game, and so really interesting combination. And it's available now, so you can try it out. And then they want you to fill out a survey and let Square Enix know what you think about it, which I like that. And that's that. You can submit that until October 18th.
All right. One more thing about Game Pass before we let you go, and that is we've got a few games leaving Game Pass. So Goner 2, Heave-Ho, Katana Zero, Scourgebringer, Tales of Vesperia HD, and the Sword of
that's a good one.
Ditto. So just last chance. If you like them, you can get 20% off. Otherwise, they're going to be leaving.
Get the sale. Get them. Yep.
October 15th is when we say bye-bye to those games, but we'll get more games in there, right? Anything else, guys?
Probably.
Right.
Wow.
I think, is that a segue to saying bye-bye to this show?
What a show we had this week. We had you guys did great with the interviews. We had a lot of news. We had shoes. We had headsets. Did I mention we had controllers? We have controllers.
News to shoes and everything in between.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Rebecca, I'm looking forward to you playing more of the Billy game.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'll let you know what the trash cans talk to me and say this weekend.
What have they said to you so far? Is the big question.
There have been some like cute little quips, like reminders to recycle and not to litter, or like, gosh, I can't remember things like like garbage. Like everyone can be garbage if they aspire to be, or like I don't know, little things like that. It's just I don't know. It's like every now and then I kind of go
positive and upbringing. What's not to like? Anyway. All right, gang. We got to wrap it up. Jeff, I know you have meetings to go to. Rebecca, you certainly have meetings to go to, and I've got a bunch to do. So, do you want to tell people to like and subscribe, Jeff?
We already did it at the beginning of the show, Larry, but we do appreciate your comments.
We do. Yeah, drop the comments down.
Most of them.
Be kind. Be kind. Rebecca's mom reads the comments. Let's kick some. Please be kind. Anything
all right,
else?
Thanks.
Yeah, bye. All right, gang.
Show's over, please.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for everything, and we'll see you online. So if you need to follow us, I'm going to hit the little button here to bring up our social handles. This is how you find us, right there. Let us know what you think, what you're playing, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.